It was small, heavy, and unassuming. But during the height of the Cold War, this simple heating brick became one of the most trusted survival tools in both NATO bunkers and Soviet outposts. Soldiers swore by it. Pilots carried it in their emergency kits. Arctic researchers relied on it when fuel ran short. Yet, most people today have never even heard of it. The Cold War heating brick was more than a source of warmth. It was a symbol of ingenuity from an era when survival technology had to work flawlessly in the harshest environments, where freezing temperatures tested both human endurance and mechanical limits. For those who value real history, not myths or reenactments, this forgotten tool tells us everything about the mindset of a generation, living under nuclear tension and surviving in some of the most unforgiving places on Earth. So let's explore how this mysterious brick worked, why it never froze, and what it can still teach modern survivalists and off-grid builders today. The Cold War demanded portable heat that could function anywhere, anytime. By the late 1940s, both East and West faced a new kind of cold. Not just political, but literal. As military research expanded into polar regions, the Arctic, Siberia, and northern Canada became proving grounds for bombers, radar stations, and early missile systems. Out there, the cold was merciless. Kerosene stoves clogged, alcohol burners sputtered, chemical packs fizzled out, liquids froze, matches snapped, batteries died. What engineers needed was something better. A compact, dependable heating source that worked without liquid fuel, without fire, and without moving parts. It had to be light enough to carry, safe to use inside a tent or cockpit, and reliable enough to activate after weeks or months in sub-zero storage. The result was what soldiers called the heating brick, a self-contained thermal block that never froze, never leaked, and could hold heat for hours. Its secret was hidden inside a phase change material, or PCM. This compound, often sodium acetate trihydrate, could absorb heat when melted and release it slowly as it solidified. The same chemistry later appeared in reusable hand warmers, but in the 1950s, it was cutting-edge survival tech. When heated above its melting point, around 58 degrees Celsius, or 136 degrees Fahrenheit, the sodium acetate turned to liquid, storing large amounts of energy. When activated, it crystallized and released that stored heat steadily for hours. Unlike water, it didn't expand when frozen, and it could be reused again and again without losing performance. Encased in thick aluminum or steel, these blocks were nearly indestructible. They could be charged by immersing them in boiling water or placing them near a heat source. Once warmed, they were ready for the field. A silent reservoir of dependable heat. In declassified NATO and Warsaw Pact manuals, these devices appear again and again, used to warm food rations, dry clothing, or keep engines from freezing overnight. Pilots on Arctic routes carried them for emergency landings, and during Operation Cold Feet in 1962, American agents relied on similar phase change units to keep delicate film and equipment from freezing inside an abandoned Soviet drift station. Soviet researchers used their own versions in polar weather labs and isolated Arctic bases, especially during the endless darkness of winter when resupply was impossible. Each brick could provide 3 to 5 hours of steady warmth, maintaining a surface temperature around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. A few of them together could heat a tent, a cockpit, or a small bunker compartment, all without open flame or oxygen. That made them invaluable in submarines, aircraft, and underground shelters, where combustion was dangerous or impossible. In time, civilian versions appeared across Eastern Europe in the 1970s, marketed as reusable home heaters for regions plagued by unreliable power. You'd heat the block in boiling water, wrap it in cloth, and slip it under blankets. It worked like an old-fashioned hot water bottle, but with none of the risk and far more endurance. What began as a military innovation quietly evolved into one of the most practical survival tools of the 20th century. Today, its legacy lives on in modern phase change packs and salt-based heat batteries. The same sodium acetate chemistry is now used in solar heating systems, capturing energy during the day and releasing it at night. For survivalists and off-grid enthusiasts, the principle remains simple and powerful. You can replicate it with reusable sodium acetate heat packs, heat them in boiling water to charge, store them sealed until needed, and trigger them by flexing the metal disc inside. They'll harden as they release steady heat for hours. No flame. No fuel. No risk. Just clean, reusable energy. Include even a couple of these in your winter emergency kit, and they could mean the difference between discomfort and survival. That was precisely the goal of the Cold War versions. Durable, foolproof, and effective down to 40 grados bajo cero. The brilliance of the heating brick lay not in complexity, but in simplicity. No batteries, no combustion, no moving parts, nothing to fail. When most people think of the Cold War, they picture missiles, spies, and propaganda. But beneath that surface, engineers were solving deeply human problems. How to stay warm, alive, and functional. When everything around you was frozen, solid, the heating brick wasn't glamorous. It didn't make headlines, but it represented a quiet kind of genius. Practical, efficient, and utterly dependable. It reminds us that innovation doesn't always come from ambition, but from necessity. And in that sense, this humble brick still speaks to anyone serious about preparedness and survival today. Many of the technologies we now take for granted, freeze-dried food, compact stoves, rechargeable heaters, were born from the same era of endurance, competition, and invention. The heating brick is one of those forgotten chapters, a relic of Cold War pragmatism that continues to shape how we think about warmth, energy, and human resilience. If you found this story valuable, subscribe to In the Beginning and share it with others who appreciate real history and forgotten technology. Each week, we uncover the tools that kept people alive in the most unforgiving conditions and show how their lessons still matter today. Stay curious, stay prepared, and keep history alive.